Hello everyone. This webinar is about our next release on ChildTrax. It's version 3.14.6. This recording has to do with changes that affects everyone regardless of the type of programs you have. There are 11 items that we're going to cover real quick. It's not real big stuff, but a lot of small stuff. So the very first thing is we've added search wildcards to find a home. So now you can come in here, instead of typing in the star or a bunch of full names, you can just hit a couple letters, hit search, and it will assume the wildcards. So if you look, I typed GRO, and I found Luke Groundwalker. If I come in here, if I just type a P and hit search, I'll find any home where the last name has a P in it. So you can do the same. It works in all three of these fields. If I type an L in the first name field, I'm going to find any parents with an L in the first name. And then again, with the secondary parent, you can also search by just typing one letter now. I put a B in there, so I'll find any parent that has a B in there in the secondary parent's first name. So the very first change that I'm talking about is on the Find a Home screen. We assume wildcards in these three fields now. The same functionality has been put over on Find a Parent, so you can just type one letter now, hit search, and you'll get all the first names of parents that begin with a P. And then the last place we did that at also was on users. So if we go to users, and if we just type one letter, now you're going to find all users that have a P in their first name. Again, first change assumes wildcards on Find a Home, Find a Parent, and Find a User, and the first and last names, and then also on homes the secondary parent's first name. So that's the first change. The second change is, I have no way of really demoing this, but when you apply or you enter placements, movements, respites, discharges, the system will not duplicate records anymore, even if you try to. By clicking the mouse as fast as you possibly can click it. We're doing some error checking when that mouse is clicked, and the system will not create a record with the same identifying information that's already in the system. So that's the second one, is to prevent duplicate placements, movements, and respites. The third change is now you can delete clients. I've always said we would never do this, but after some consideration we're going to allow it. So if a kid has never had a referral entered on him, then you will get a delete button now. The difference between these three kids, all three of these kids were never placed, right? But this kid, Johnny Appleseed, has had a referral put in on him. That's why you don't see a delete button here, because there is a referral tied to Johnny. Stephen Colonel and Elmer Fudd, they've never had referrals, so as you can see, you'll now have a delete button. You can actually click on that delete button and you're going to be prompted. You're about to delete Elmer Fudd. This will permanently delete all information connected to this client. Click OK to continue. And when you do, now if we come back here and do our search, you'll notice that Elmer Fudd is no longer in the system. The next change is actually on. I'm going to go to one particular client to show you this change. It's on the client information screen. I'm going to come over here to do it. We've added some fields to the client information screen. Let me open this up. So now you'll see a place to put a home phone number, a cell number, and an email address. And then on the actual bio parents, there's a marital status now. And these things also transfer over to face sheets in the emergency forms. So you'll see these three things on those face sheets and emergency forms. The fifth change is on the complete history page. Let me close this and go back to complete. Let me just go back. Up to this point, any kid that's been discharged over 12 months, you can never get back to their case management screen. And we have now changed that. If you're security level 4 or 5, no matter how long the kid has been discharged, you will be able to get back to their place or their case management stuff at all times. So I'm going to we'll use Donald Duck and stuff. If we go here, you look, he was placed back in May of 2013, which is well over 12 months, and now you still have the placement information button. So that's for levels 4 and 5. Okay, the next page is on the supervisor, or the next change is on the supervisor home page, and it is under requirements. Under the user requirements, you will now see incomplete user requirements, the ones where we don't schedule a date. They will now show up. I don't know actually if I have any configured on here. But when we get to the home and parents, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So that's it. If on user requirements something does not schedule with the date, it's sitting there saying no requirement date, then they will show up on the dashboard now. Same way with foster home requirements. Let's pull this up. So now you'll see that we added this column here for no requirement due date. And so here you have Luke Groundwalker's annual vehicle safety inspection certification sitting there saying no requirement due. And then the next piece is on foster parent requirements. The same thing. We now show these no requirement due date things. You'll see the same column added to the dashboard itself when it comes up. And so you look, here's 5 of them on this very first that don't have due dates. Okay, the next change is on this supervisor page. We've also added a link to the date tracker items. So now you can actually manage your date tracker right from your supervisor home page. So if this one's complete, you can click on it complete. If you want to add a new one, you can add a new one. So that's date tracker. We also added auto insurance and driver's license. These work the same way. If they look the same way, we'll go ahead and select all. So here's all your auto insurances that are expiring, quick and easy to get from your supervisor homepage. The next thing we're going to go over is actually the caseworker's homepage. So if we switch over to the caseworker, on the case manager's homepage, we've added 2 things. Well, actually a couple. More than 2. Same thing like on the supervisor page on these 2 things. Now you will actually see the incomplete items also. Or not, yeah, what used to be called incomplete. The ones that we don't schedule the first due date now show up. That's the home one. Click on the parent, then we'll see the parent. So there's the parent side, and here's those things that don't have a due date. We've also added the date tracker, auto insurance, and driver's license to the case manager's homepage. So that completes part 1 of version 3.14.6 release. This pertains to all customers regardless of your program. Thank you.